It's a beautiful day here in Chicago, the Thursday before DartCon and NvZ, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my primary that I'll be bringing. I just finished it last night, just in time, as we are leaving tonight to head there. So the base blaster is a Rebel Fearless Fire, semi-automatic flywheel-based blaster with a 20-round turret. I want to talk about sort of the integration stuff I did. And the most obvious thing there is that modulus carry handle. The stock rails on the Fearless Fire don't work with the GoPro mount that I have from Containment Crew. So I wanted something to mount that to so I could get footage while we're playing, and also I really like carry handles on all of my primaries. The second part, as we move towards the back of the blaster, that is the top portion of a Rebel Rapid Glow, which is the Rebel Retaliator sort of reshell. It's turned around backwards, and the brass looking piece that you're seeing is the jam door. If I use a smaller battery, like I'll use for our local SCS and W games, I can take the battery in and out with that door, but that graphene LiPo is just too huge. Also underneath there is the truss fire that powers the LEDs and stuff. Anyway, the integration was done with smooth cast 65D, little plumber's epoxy to get those smooth edges, and then a little bit of DevCon in places where the 65D did not cure properly. I also added a impact weapons components mount in slot direct attachment mount sling mount. It is a small detachable swivel that allows me to hang that from my chest rig in a more balanced way than using one of the sling mount attachment points at the rear or in the handles. I put that in place with the set screws that it came with, and then I used plumber's putty and DevCon to get it really secure in there. It's not going anywhere, looks smooth. I like it. The thing is powered on a 3S graphene LiPo running to, I believe, a 20 amp micro switch that then bumps up through 14 gauge wire. Maybe it's 16. I don't remember. I think it's 16. To a pair of MTV Rhinos right now. I also added a completely independent LED circuit. That's the single truss fire in the back mounted underneath where the LiPo is. The LED circuit is completely independent from the powertrain. It's powered by a single truss fire, runs up into that front angled grip that connects to the same 20 amp switch that the powertrain uses. I know it's overkill for something as low voltage and amperage as this, but I really like the clicky feel of it. So that is actuated by a trigger from a Rebel Rapid Red that I had laying around. Inside the firing chamber are two square type super bright blue LEDs, and then in the front is a small sort of tactical flashlight that I found. It's a 60 lumen, runs on 4 volts, and has this sort of tactical bezel around it like modern flashlights, except that this one, the bezel is just a little rubber sleeve. So it can't bash anyone's face, it can't do anything dangerous at all, and still gives that tactical look. I think that is one of the most nerfy things I have ever seen. And if you notice in the back, there's a little cutout that I made for another switch, and that switch connects the negative from the balance lead up to my voltmeter, which you can see lit up there. Now let's talk about the aesthetics of the blaster. First, the grip. That wood grain is all hand carved. I used a small engraving bit on my Fordham and drew all those lines on and then carved them all out. The paint on the grips, the furniture if you will, on the bottom is a few coats of the tan vinyl dye, then a layer of Ushabati bone by Citadels, and then light dry brushing in Mornfang brown to get that sort of dark walnutty look. So here are all of the paints and finishes that I used to do the paint job on this Duplicolor vinyl dye. And then to get those that marbling in the middle, I use a technique where you spray down multiple layers of paint. I started with the teal and then the navy and then the white. And while it's all still wet, crumple up a magazine and sort of scrape it across the paint and peel off a bunch of it in random shapes until you get that nice marbling. And I masked it off with vinyl pinstriping that you would use on your car. Spray the whole thing in white, and then sprayed this Rust-Oleum color shift on top of it. I'm not a good enough photographer to get that to show up on camera, but in person the effect is pretty striking. It gives this sort of pearlescent look, whereas you move the blaster around and follow the light, you can follow the different shades of pink and teal as they sort of shift and ghost across the shell. Then on top of that is this Duplicolor gloss wheel clear coat. It's really, really hard. It's really easy to apply, and then on the parts that look like wood or the parts that look like corroded metal, I sprayed this Rust-Oleum matte finish on top of it to sort of mute that and create contrast. And then on the bottom you see all of the Citadel brush paints that I use. Those are all acrylics. I did all of the wood and the metal and the corrosion and stuff with that. This blaster was vaguely inspired by the Borderlands series of games. I really enjoy using the Jacobs series of blasters, which the assault rifles all are turret fed. And in the latest Borderlands, there's a weapon classification called luneshine, where there's sort of luminescent blue lines running through the entire thing. And I wanted to try and recreate that. So that's what I've done here. It's not exact at all, but this was what I did. First, I did this companion to it, which is my video game controller. I've been blasting zombies and Hyperion robots with that for months and months now, and I absolutely love it. And it uses all of the same paint techniques as the main blaster. And that is it. This took me a little over a month to do. I am so happy with the way it turned out, and I cannot wait to blast zombies at NvZ. So that wraps it up for me. If you're going there, look for me out on the field. Love to talk to you about it. And otherwise, I will see you there.